Hello out there, and welcome to another episode of Three Archers Podcast. We have been talking about just things that we talk about when we're alone, when we get together, girl chat, whatever you want to call it. But they are also topics that I feel like we really need to discuss. We really need to bring out into the open. So today, our topic is gender roles. So in the world we live in, it is currently November of 2021. And gender as a construct has gotten a little fluid on a lot of levels. So what does it even mean to be a man and a woman? And what does that mean for you? I identify as a woman. I'm not even going to go into all the other terms. I was born a woman. I am a woman. Suffice it to say, that's where I rest. However, if you identify as a woman, however that may be, what do you feel like the responsibilities of your womanhood are?
Ooh.
It was a lot, right?
We're not going to warm up to this.
I mean, I'm just saying,
dive right in.
That's heavy loaded.
That's what's real in the streets.
Especially in 2021 where I think the lines are blurred, and everybody's not going to agree with that. But the lines are blurred. I feel challenged as a woman from multiple places. I feel challenged as a woman. I feel like I have to prove my womanhood. And I feel like in this society, we have to ask permission to be women. All of the things that used to be synonymous with women are not anymore. We talked about ultra independence last season, but it was birthed from a place of the absence of men and not being able to embrace our femininity and be vulnerable in the first place. And I want to be vulnerable. I've had a rough couple of days. I'm in bad mental space and I want to cry. And I've not been able to properly cry because we live in a jacked up society that says that you have to be strong all the time. Plus, I got kids on around here. They won't let me breathe. They won't let me be great. But like, we're not allowed the safe space to be women. Like, we just all robots.
Right. So, Stephanie, do you feel like men feel the same pressure in their maleness? Is their maleness under attack? Do they have the space to display male characteristics?
Their maleness is under attack more so, just in my opinion. Now we live in a society where men I don't want nobody to look at me crazy when I say this, but excuse me, everybody. That's my 2-year-old in the background that will not leave. So yeah. I think men now are more comfortable doing more feminine things. And so men get questioned a lot more now, but in the same token, I will say the world has evolved in such a way that men doing things that we used to say weren't that manly is kind of okay now. Like men wearing purses, like men wearing pants that are tighter than ours, men not wanting to pay for first dates, men not wanting to provide, like that type of stuff. It's like, it's okay now. So I kind of want to say, like, their manhood gets questioned. Yeah, but in a way, no.
But
In a
what
way,
about the men who are still traditional men and they have to battle with society to be those traditional men? Because even those men in the traditional sense, now they're they're suckers, they're, you know what I mean? Like it's something wrong with them wanting to be the head, to provide, to protect, to be the man. Like, what kind of society are we living in that you're questioned for being the head, the provider, the protector, where you're questioned for being the rib, the homemaker, the nurturer? Like what? And then nobody, like, are we being punked?
I think so.
I think what happened, from my perspective, I think what happened is there were a lot of things that traditional men were doing, saying, thinking, had been taught and passed down that were considered toxic. And I agree, they were toxic. And then we had the feminism movement that said, hey, I can be a woman and I can still do X, Y, Z. And so neither one of those things are bad in and of themselves. But I think what happened is instead of going in with a tiny scalpel, we went in with a hatchet and just started cutting away at the whole thing, the whole tree, when we really just needed to prune a couple branches that were in the way. And it just went a little too far,
It went way too far, because talking about gender roles, trash is for penises. I'm not taking out no trash, and I mean it. There are boys in my house. I do not adjust the trash. I do not pick up trash. I'm not taking out the trash. I do not put trash bags back in the trash can. I do not wash out the trash can. I'm not doing any of those things. And when I have to ask for it, I'm rude. Can somebody with a penis come address this trash? Not doing it. No one asked me, did I want to be part of this foolishness y'all call feminism? Y'all took it too far for me. I still need you to open my door. I still need you to check and make sure that bump was nobody. I like men who sleep next to the door, because if somebody's coming in here, they gotta get through me first. Like, where are y'all?
And that brings up a good point. We lost some things. So when we started cutting away, I look around in the younger generation and even in our generation, right? Like a lot of these men don't know things that we expected. Like my grandfather, my father, my uncles definitely know, like how to fix a car, how to rotate tires, how to build something in the house, how to, and for females as well, how to cook, how to, make a budget, how to sew, things that we were all taught, and it was ingrained in these gender roles. And it's almost like they're unicorns now. They're unicorns. And I'm of a mindset like you, sister. I know how to change a tire, but I'm never going to do it.
Right. But the thing is, they're also not wanted unicorns, sister. There is a small scope of people who desire women that are those kind of women. There are a small fraction, because even and women are going to tear me up in the comments. Y'all don't want real men. Y'all don't. Because y'all get them and then you're verbally abusive and you tear them down. And no, I need me a man, like a whole one. A whole one. I just last week, my baby girl came into my bedroom crying. She came into my bedroom crying because her brother wowed her out. She opened the door and he was walking with her. He was like, you ever touch a door again in your life? And she was like, he yelled at me. I ain't nothing to do with that, baby. You're not supposed to touch doors. Mommy doesn't touch doors. I step to the side. I got my whole hand smacked by my son. I said, what's wrong with you? Put it down. I got leaned on. I'm recording. Be quiet. He's talking about, are you talking about me?
Oh, well, sister, this goes into, we talked about who raised you, and you talked about this coming from your son. You raised him, and you raised him to follow those, those ethics and that code. And so you got what you got. I mean, I can
Give credit to
remember
Dad. Give credit
dating
to Dad.
someone as a teenager dating someone, and it was our first argument. I was opening doors, but I was accustomed to opening doors. I didn't see the issue in it. I appreciated his chivalry, but it just wasn't that big to me. Now it's like, woo, where him at? Because why am I opening all these doors? I don't understand. Doors.
Yeah.
The door, they don't
Wow.
want jacket when it's cold. They don't want to lift you up over a puddle. They don't want to take out the trash. They don't want to walk on the outside of the street. They don't want to pay for nothing. They don't want to do nothing. They have child.
And
Don't.
then a lot of them don't know, Stephanie.
That's true.
A lot of them don't know, and it's like you said, sister, who raised you? I didn't even realize that my sons were cognizant of not letting women walk on the curb. So I don't know why, because their father would never let me, but I didn't know that that was something that they picked up. And so one day I saw my son and my daughter walking home from school, because she doesn't carry her own books. When he picks her up from school, he takes her books, he's carrying his book bag, he's carrying hers. And I watched him physically move her. And I saw him stay on this side. And it made me a little teary-eyed, because I'm like, I legit am raising boys that somebody's daughter is safe with. That's big, because there are so many girls not safe with someone's son. How many of them brothers have we been safe with?
That's very big. It really is. It's major in a way that I think we don't always appreciate. You know what I mean? It's so cute. Like when you look at those old movies, like from the 50s and 60s and things, and you talk about him carrying her books. But even more so, you know what that point illustrates to me is that children model what they see. So you said their father would never. So they model what they see. And so a lot of this, I feel, is rooted in not just, the attack on gender roles or this need to define yourself outside of those boxes, but also the breakdown of the family. Like, how can you model what you've never seen?
Exactly.
Good.
Great point.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I mean, what's the pushback? How we get them back on track? What's going on?
So nobody want to listen. So I try to be the one. I told you every time I see it, even because I don't want to just beat up on men, because that ain't just all it. That's not just it.
Yeah.
And then you said, what do you feel like? Basically, as a woman, what do you feel like you're supposed to be doing? Like, what's your role? Me? My role is to set the tone in my home. My role is to nurture and develop my family and my children. My role, when I do have a man in the house, because, there were times when I didn't, but when I do, is to make that man feel loved and appreciated. That's my role. My role is to be a big supporter to my man, but my role is also to have me, to still have me. I had to learn that. I had to learn, because I was once in a place where I didn't understand my place as a woman. I wanted to be the man. I put myself in situations where I had men who didn't operate as such, where I took care of the things that they were supposed to be taken care of, where I was the breadwinner, when I was paying the bills, or when I was going half. I done did all of that. Now that I've taken my rightful place. You know, like, yeah, my role is to be his support. And but like I said, to make sure that I still have a piece of me. I think that's where people get it a little, it gets a little mixy, right? Because every time when the conversation comes up of bills, let's just say, I don't pay house bills. I don't. It's not my job. It's not what I do. Okay. The first thing somebody say to me is, well, if you don't pay, if you got a man that pay everything, they gonna do this and that, and they gonna think they can do whatever they want to do. And that, no, boys operate that way because they feel like just because they pay bills, they own you. But men know that that's their place, and that makes them feel like more of a man, that they are taking care of their family, and it does not make them belittle a woman because they are doing what they're supposed to do for their family. I'm telling you, that's the first thing people say to me. The first thing.
Tell them what that is, though, because that's what submissive men look like. And people don't catch it. That's what a submissive man looks like. The submissive man provides, protects, takes care of, but he also knows the value of a woman, because hearing what Stephanie said, she does. She nurtures, she sets the tone, and she develops her family. Any man, and like y'all like to say, high value man, understands the role of a high value woman. And that's what the prize is. I'm going out here to make these coins. She's breeding my legacy. That's what she just said to y'all.
That part. People
That's what she just told y'all.
To understand that, and they don't understand the value of having a woman there to raise their children. We have gotten so brainwashed. And for those who do live their life that way, where they gotta, where they go out to work, or that's what they desire to do, to be outside of the home working and sending their children to daycare and stuff like that. That's, that's what you do. Okay. I'm not knocking that. But like I was saying, people have totally devalued a woman who stays home and actually raise her children day to day, sees them all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? Develops them, knows them from head to toe. Everything that they do, every time they hit a new milestone, mom is there. You know what I'm saying? Every time you get a phone call from the school, mom can be there in a second. People totally act like that doesn't mean anything. That means a lot. And I know to me it does, because I grew up with a mom who had to work outside the home. Okay, my father was wherever the hell he was at. My mother was a single mother for a long time. She had to go out and work a 9 to 5. And while she was out working a 9 to 5, I was doing God knows what. Okay? Because a lot of times when I needed my mother, she could not be there because she had to go out and work. She could not go with me. She couldn't make to everything. She did when she could, but she couldn't, everything she couldn't, because she had to go out and take care of this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? People act like that's not a big thing. What I have learned, because I have done both. I've had to work outside the home. I've had to send my children to daycare. And now I'm home and I work from home. So I'm home and all of my children have constant access to me at all times. I've been on both sides of the coin. What I realized is when you can dedicate yourself to one purpose, to one thing, you flourish in that one thing. When you have to divvy yourself up, you have to divvy yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to reach your maximum potential at doing something if you got to be all these different places. You see what I'm saying? People don't understand that. All they want to talk about is you need to go outside and have a job. You need to be paying 50% of the bills, because if you're not, then what are you doing? And what are you spending your money on? And your man needs help. No, y'all men need help with money. My man is good. He know what he doing. He was paying bills way before I came along, okay? And me being here has added to him. He goes out to work. I pack his lunch. He drives trucks. He can't pull his truck into any old place and get lunch. I make sure that his lunch is packed. I make sure that his uniforms are washed, his gloves are washed, his jackets is had. I make sure all that when he come home from work. Whereas though when I wasn't with him, when he was a single man, when he came home from work, he had to find himself something to eat for dinner. He had to do all of these things. Now he don't have to do none of that. Only thing he got to do is go to work and go outside in the yard and do manly things, But all the domestic stuff I do, we make things easier.
Mm-hmm.
Other. And that's what gender roles are. It's each gender having their own place to take the weight off of the other. If people would look at it that way instead of looking at it as something negative, I think we'd be better off.
Preach, Stephanie.
I started off talking about that gender had become sort of fluid, right? Mm-hmm. But that's not necessarily negative, if you look at it a certain way. So when you were a single woman, a single mother, when he was a single man, there were certain things that you did, you know what I mean? Because you were occupying the role of, let's say, both genders, right, in that household. But as your positions and situations change, you no longer have to go out in the world and work a traditional job. And so you refocus, you become fluid with your role and repurposing that energy into the role of a woman who's a homemaker, who is home with her children, who is home to support the man of the house. And so being fluid, I think where it goes all wrong is people get so stuck in, oh, I've been doing it this way, but your situation changed and you didn't. Can't do that. Can't do that. Like I've been in both positions, right? And before I was married, I was a single mother. And I was a single mother who had a home to maintain. If it had to be done, I had to do it or hire someone to do it. That's just how that goes. I will also say that as far as the bills, because I feel like people get stuck in that money thing, that bill thing. When I was a single woman, even when I was dating, I didn't allow men to pay my house bills. These are my bills. So I was occupying that male position and I'm the head of this household. And these are my bills. Now, if you want to do something for me, fine. I appreciate it. But you can't pay the bills of my house because you have no place in my house until you do.
Facts.
You have no place in this house until you do. Now, if we get there, we have to become fluid. Now we need to, develop a plan about how we manage this household together. But as long as this is my house, it's my house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you, sister. I'm with you because I don't even believe in cohabitating without marriage. That is not. Ironically, how I ended up married, because I told him, I was like, last man I lived with was my daddy, that would be my husband. He said, well, let's get married. And I brushed him off. I chuckled. And 2 days later, he was like, you never answered me. Oh, wait, you were serious?
He said, yeah, because listen, you say what you wanted. I'm gonna give you what you wanted.
Facts. And so now I'm divorced and I'm single. You can't stay here. You can't stay here. You cannot take up space where my children are. They will not be uncomfortable. They will not have to mind you or care about your existence until they do. So you are either very serious about me or get on somewhere, little boy. Because grown men understand that single mothers don't have time to play with them.
Got things to do. I'm busy.
I'm
Don't have
busy.
time for that.
I'm busy. And as a very traditional woman, I grew up in a two-parent household. So everything that Stephanie's talking about rings so clear to me. My mother was not totally a stay-at-home mother. My mother did work outside the home, but she worked outside the home on the weekend. My mother left on Friday. She was a private duty nurse, and she came back Monday morning, but my dad was home. So the house was never without a parent. And I remember having a conversation with her a couple of weeks ago. And she said, I thought you hated when I was home. I loved having her home. I loved coming home from school because God knows, we remember being teenagers in high school. I loved my mother being home. First of all, it always smelled delicious because my mother's a baker. So imagine coming home and some nappy-headed boy did something to you and mommy got pie and she sees this meltdown ensuing and she cuts pie and we talk over milk and pie. And all of those things matter. Those small, what you think are very small details matter when you come back together for holidays and your kids are grown and they're talking to their children. All of these things matter. Gender roles matter. I distinctly remember my father never scheduling somebody to come into the house to repair something if my mother was going to be alone. And if she was, he always called and would stay on the phone with her. So when we're talking about men providing, that protection thing is like real high on the list for me. Like if I don't feel safe with you, there is nothing that's gonna happen. We not kissing, we not dreaming about it. I'm not sleeping with you. If I don't feel like you are a protector, there's nothing we can do. So I don't understand why people in these gender roles aren't popping because there are just some real definitive things that I need from a man. Protection being one of them. And I'm not a punk. I will bust your head open. I'm gonna think about it first because it depends on where we are. Because legally that is different. But I will bust your head open. But it's far better to have a man that's going to diffuse that situation so you don't have to pop off. Everybody has their role. I'm comfortable being in a woman's role. I'm comfortable being in my place. Problem is, I haven't found a man that understands that I'm comfortable with that.
And when you talk about that protection thing, you know what's weird to me, right? So you can be in relationships with men. Like some people are in relationships and they are cohabitating. They're in relationships with these men and they're sharing their resources and they're basically doing what I consider wife duties, but whatever you feel, they're wife duties to me. So they're doing all these things for these men, right? And these men are not protectors. They're not protectors in the way that somebody could pose a threat to that woman and they not act, or something as small as walking on the outside of the street, right? Or even it's about to get cold. We're about to get hit with winter. I don't understand. There are women who actually get up out their bed and go to work and clean their own cars off when there's a man, whether he lives there or he was just there last night. Why are you cleaning your own car off? I need to understand. Tell me what's going on for real. And what's so weird about that is I don't, my father's deceased, right? And so, and even before he passed, he didn't live at him and my mother were not living in the home together. And so, of course, he was my father and he did fatherly things, but it's a little different when you're not in the home. But to this day, I have a brother. And let me tell my brother, anybody said, did anything. I have a gang of uncles on both sides. Let me tell my uncles that anyone said, did anything. Even to the point of, some of my exes who said what? And yet you can be in a relationship with someone who's supposed to be your life partner, your helpmate, love you, be the head of your household, and they not feel an urge or need to fulfill the role of protector. It's so weird to me. It's weird.
These people weird. As how?
Very, very. A man is supposed to protect you.
And vice versa. It's not just, so we think about protector and we say man, but if you are occupying your proper woman space, I would never allow a female to come and disrupt. You understand what I'm saying? This protection thing goes with, we talk about gender roles, but I think really what the difference is in the gender roles, man and woman, is how we operate in that space. How am I protecting you? How am I nurturing you? How am I supporting you? It looks different in the execution, but it really should be both ways.
It is.
Right. Because as women, right, we provide safe space for them as well. You don't let another woman come at him, but you provide safe space for him, because men, it is my opinion that men go under a lot of mental battles as men. Mm-hmm. So if you are not providing him a safe space of comfort and peace and vulnerability, if he is not comfortable being vulnerable with you and vice versa, you have an issue. Mm-hmm. Because you are supposed to be this man's safe space. Yeah. And every woman can't be that. That's why you're his woman. Y'all so busy bumping skin that y'all missing the finite details here. We're almost 40.
Call it what, sister? Would you call it?
They bumping skin.
Oh.
They out here being fast and loose with their body parts. And guess what happens, y'all? We're going to get old. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
Or it's not going to look like it used to. And you spend all this time living your best life. And you're growing old with what?
Exactly.
You old mattress.
Right. You don't even got nobody that's there for you and want to take care of you.
Because that's also part of that gender role man woman thing. Like that's still a form of protection.
Absolutely. I think that we just got so caught up in being trendy that they rejected the old school just on GP and not really looking at the reasons of why they're rejecting these things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I understand where the rejection of gender roles started, because some of it was asinine.
Yeah.
Women not having say so over their body, women not being able to open a bank account without a man's permission. Like some of all this shit stuff.
Shit.
Was absolutely foolishness.
Stupid.
But y'all leaving out the good stuff, the stuff that makes being in relationships worth it. Y'all abandoned that. That's why you're not seeing the value of marriage and being in relationships, because you abandoned the things that made them worthwhile.
That part. That part. That's why y'all don't care if a person stay or go.
Right.
That's why it don't matter to you none.
Exactly. You wasn't getting the good stuff. Y'all was just getting the scraps.
That's why these men, I was talking to Sean the other day and he was like, he said, women, we can't live without y'all. I said, that's crazy that you say that because a lot of men don't feel that way. He said, I don't know why.
Because the world is trash. Just like we sit up here and we talk about how these men aren't right, these women are not right. I could, off the top of my head, I know some good men.
Me too.
And there are so many scraps out here that a chick can do just a little bit more than a trash and she becomes gold. And then he stick it out because here's a misconception. I'm glad that Sean said that. The misconception is that men are dogs. Men are extremely loyal until men love harder. Y'all can debate me if you want to, but typically when men get heartbroken, they broke, like they're broken. Men love really, really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And when they approach that age of maturity where they want to be settled, they are extremely loyal until, because men are more emotional creatures than what we like to believe and what we're taught to believe. But most of the time, when men are stuck in bad situations, they stick in that bad situation until she do something egregious or until she leave them high and dry. Most times, men don't dump the woman when she's being egregious.
Mm.
Now, the misunderstanding will come from those that don't understand that you're talking about men.
Men, right? Men,
not broken little boys, well-adjusted, good foundation.
Men, right?
Men.
You look at them, you're like, she don't take good care of you.
And when they are in real situations where they want to be, not the ones that they're there for convenience, not the ones that are homosexuals, they there for a place to stay, not for those who don't really deal with you like that. You just something to do at the time, because those men, they treat you as such.
Absolutely.
You don't get certain treatment from a man if you ain't what he really wants.
Absolutely.
And so that's, when I see the post and it's like, do women still? Yeah, they do. If they not, they don't like you that much.
Or they've not matured to men and women.
Or the situation is not appropriate. When the environment, the relationship itself is toxic, neither one of you can function as your best self. And so it's not that they don't have the ability or potential or knowledge to be, but sometimes not right now, not till we get this right.
Like you that much, given whatever's going on in the situation, they don't like you enough to mature. Right. They don't like you enough to make it work. They don't like you.
Inspired to.
They don't like you enough. Let's just keep it above. They don't like you enough, and it's cool. But we gotta recognize that.
Hey, I was talking to a very good friend of mine, and he and his wife have been together. They haven't quite reached that 7 year, and he said he just didn't know where he was. And I said, does she still inspire you to be a better man? Answer that question, because if she doesn't, you need to take a long, hard look at your relationship. Because I don't care what stage of life you are in, longevity comes from so much more than love.
Yep.
The
Yep.
things that make lasting marriages is not like that's not like love is it's cute, but I was married 14 years. You're not always gonna like that person or be in love. There's sometimes that you're gonna want to suffocate that person, but there's a level of respect and friendship and inspiration that comes. Talk to them 30-year about a married folk. They'll tell you about how they're still learning their partner, how they're still inspired to, how he still get up and do what he does because he loves her. That's inspiration. That's inspiration.
Yep.
If your partner does not inspire you to be better, to push forward, your relationship begins to die.
Yep.
Fact check it. I promise you I'm not lying.
Because then you just start just doing anything.
Yeah, right.
Your performance level dwindles. Period. You ain't trying no more.
When your labor of love turns into obligation.
I think that's real important though, because for some people, they are still relying on fairy tales as their model. And like what you say, you know, the girl meets boy, they fall in love. Love is cute.
It is.
It doesn't sustain you, not all by itself.
No, it don't. No, it don't.
And that love looks
that.
different. That love looks different as you move through your relationship in different seasons. Your love will look different.
Because love is not just a feeling. Love is an action word.
Oh, Jesus, say it one more time, Stephanie. Lord.
It's not just a feeling, it's an action word.
It is.
Requires things to come along with it. It's not just this ooey gooey feeling. It's not.
When people love you, they show you in so many ways that have nothing to do with romance.
So here is where we have to insert, not have to, but here's where I insert my Christian upbringing, you know, our Christianity. The Bible is a blueprint for so many things, and it talks about what love is. And some of those things aren't real comfortable. It starts to talk about love being long suffering.
Yeah.
Just think about long suffering. Ooh, that don't sound like nothing I want to do. But guess what? When you love a person, you are motivated and inspired to continue on the path because you love them. Love doesn't take you down the path. Love just puts the gas in the tank.
Yeah.
So that you can make it down there when you get tired.
Long suffering.
Long.
That's how people take care of their spouse when they are withering away from cancer. How they love people through mental illness. How they keep pushing even though you're an addict, because it is long suffering.
The real shit.
And long suffering is different. I want to make this point. Long suffering is not the same as that. I had to catch myself. As that struggle love.
Right, exactly.
That's not the same thing.
That's exactly where I was getting ready to go with that, because long suffering does not equate to toxic.
Yeah, let's add that disclaimer, because you already know.
Right. Because somebody's gonna be like, yeah, that's why. No, it's not.
No.
Don't do that.
Long suffering is not toxic. It is a season.
Yeah.
Your toxic relationship is just that. It doesn't have seasons. It just exists in toxicity.
And it doesn't really serve you.
It doesn't.
That part.
It doesn't really serve.
And I like that you use serve, Stephanie, because the long suffering of love is the service. It is the service. That is the season, and then you come out on the other end. This is your test.
Mhm.
Your testimony comes after the test.
That ties into gender roles.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am.
Gender roles.
Yes,
When
ma'am.
you love somebody, you are of service to them. Gender roles.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all relative. It's all relative.
Because the other part of that is it's not just service. Anytime you are you truly love somebody, there's a level of discomfort because it comes with sacrifice. And sacrifice doesn't mean you know throw everything away, but when you do something for someone that doesn't necessarily serve you, but it serves them, it's not always going to be comfortable. When you love someone, you have to love them enough also to chastise them. What that means is that you're holding them accountable for what they are doing and what they're not doing.
Yep.
But don't forget that before you go to loving other people, gotta love yourself first.
That part.
Exactly. Because that will be that's the gauge for you. That's
So-
how you know if your investment is worth it. If you love yourself,
Yep.
when you go to love someone else, you have this temperature gauge built in because you're looking at this is this worth me?
Yep.
Because there are times, like you said, love is uncomfortable. There are times you are going to sacrifice yourself for this person, and not always in a destructive way. Think
Mhm.
about it. I touched on mental illness. You know how hard it is to love someone who is incapable of loving themselves because they're in darkness?
Yep.
That's uncomfortable. Very. That takes devotion.
Yep. It do. Right.
That takes agape love.
Mhm.
That
Agape.
takes agape love.
Yeah.
Oh man, like I love these conversations because they are so, what am I looking for? The first word that popped in my head, which is incorrect, is tumultuous. It's not tumultuous. It just has so many twists and turns and caveats, and it's not one thing.
Loaded.
And I think that's part of what really the underlying thing about gender roles and all of our topics is it's not one thing. There's so many, all of this is so multifaceted. You can't just say, oh, well, I'm a woman. That's it. Well, what kind of woman are you? What
Right.
role are you playing as that woman? I'm a man. That's it. Okay, what does it mean to be that man? There are layers in fact, there's just so much in, if it's too simple, it's not real. It's not real. It's childish, is what it is.
Oh, sister.
Hmm.
That was a mouthful.
It's childish. You being childish. Cut that out.
That was a mouthful. Because when I think about it, when people make it that simple, it falls into that fairy tale category you were just talking about. That's not real.
Not. It's not.
I don't know. I don't know what day is going to do, but I tell you this thing. I am a real woman.
Ooh.
No disrespect to anybody. That's how I see myself. I'm a real grown woman.
Yeah.
And so all that childishness, miss me with it.
Mm-hmm.
I accept my womanhood and the responsibility it comes with, and also the joy that comes in being a woman and operating as a woman. And you know, in my womanhood, I can appreciate watching a man operate in his male, like it as long as there's peace in the situation, I'm good. I'm good. And when you really hold true to your position and you're comfortable in your space, you should be able to be comfortable watching someone operate in theirs. It shouldn't disturb you when a man wants to be a man or a woman says, hey, I just want to be a woman. I don't want to do that man stuff.
I just want a man that I can be submissive to.
Huh.
I'm just saying.
While we on that, because I know we winding down, but let me touch on that real quick. That submissive word, because I hear so women because they won't submit.
Are you worthy?
If you gotta say that, when I say that, if you gotta say that, then you ain't it. When you gotta say that, you ain't the type. Okay? Because a woman who is submissive to her man, first of all, it's not forced. He ain't forcing her to do nothing. He does not force her to do anything. It's the way that he operates in his manhood that makes her say, it's okay for me to be a woman. It don't got nothing to do with him being forceful or with him having to have a conversation with her about being submissive. When he died crossing her T's, that thing just fall into place.
Absolutely.
So if y'all out here having that conversation, guess what? It's because you ain't no leader, and she don't see leadership in you.
Because you know what? Submission is a natural thing.
It is.
Stephanie hit it. If you have to have a conversation, you're not it, because when people, it happens in work. You know, it's always that one person that lead the project and everybody fall in line. That's submission. Oh, they got it. I can follow this person and not go over a cliff. That's what submission looks like. They see, because I know everybody looking at us can see all three of us have type A personalities. And all three of these type A personalities have no problem being submissive to the right one.
Yeah, you gotta be right. You gotta be right.
I yearn for submissiveness. If I am able to be submissive, you know what I don't have to be? Ultra independent.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Let the church say amen on this good Sunday. Amen. And amen. And amen. Because amen is so be it unto me. Listen, they got it twisted out here. I mean, but you know, again, I know I've said this before. I'll continue to say it. You don't want to hear me say it, don't listen. The whole point of these conversations, or not these conversations because we would have them anyway, but sharing them with you guys is so that you can start these conversations amongst yourself, because we need solutions out here. We need solutions out here. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I have two girls. The younger one is a very free thinker. Okay. And don't you laugh at my baby.
Do not do my niece seafood like that.
I'm just because they don't know her, so I'm just trying to explain what I'm about to say. We're trying to find solutions because she's young, she's Gen Z, and you know, the next generation coming, and she don't think all of y'all really belong here. She, you know, it's 7 billion people, and she don't feel like we need all 7 billion. And so I suggest you step your game up, because they looking at y'all like you expendable, and that's not good. That's not good. I'm not saying she's, you know, a danger, and I'm just saying, like, do we really need all of y'all?
And that's
what that really means is that you are not showing yourself to be a person of value. You are not being a productive member of the society if you can be looked at as expendable. It's a problem.
That part.
So we come together and we have these conversations. We start these conversations and we direct you to your nearest Sagittarius because we want to help you be better. Because we want to be better. We're constantly working. Listen, we always working on ourselves. Only a fool thinks he knows everything. It's not that deep. Like, there's work to be done here. It's just different.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just different. That's all.
Yeah.
But that really tickled me. That she was like, why are we still having people? And I'm like,
because these ones that's here ain't doing the thing. So why are we adding more?
These are the conversations you have when you're a parent. You have to, have these conversations with the children.
Yeah.
God bless their heart. God bless them.
Yeah, because these children, they built different.
They hold no punches. No,
that
no
child
cut
asked me, how do you
cards,
tell people they trash without telling them they trash? Daddy told me I couldn't say that. I said, because you can't tell people that they're trash. She said, but
what we saying?
I'm so amused. So ladies, archers,
yes,
for episodic purposes, I think this is a good resting place. You know how we do, though. The conversation continues. And for those of you who are listening, tuning in, continue this conversation amongst your group. Find out where their heads are. Just throw the questions out there, see what they're thinking. Let them expose themselves. Because somebody in your group, I don't know, they might have like that Gemini energy, and you might not need to address that. I don't know. You just never know.
Don't say Gemini.
Oh.
You know my favorite.
Our friend is a Gemini.
All right, well, insert zodiac here, whatever it is. There.
Last week, Cancer.
True.
So from our archers, thank you so much again for tuning in. We will see you next week. Sagittarius season is still in effect. Please like, share, follow, comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you feel gender roles should encompass. Anything that we missed here, you agree, you don't agree, you have additions, subtractions. We can talk about it. There's no beef. It's all love. Long suffering. Love. All right. So until next time.